Well, Obamacare insurance exchanges are set to open just 2 weeks from today, but Americans increasingly unhappy with the president's handling of Obamacare. A record 58% of voters disapprove of the job President Obama is doing when it comes to health care. That according to our latest Fox News poll. In the first of my exclusive interviews with Heritage Foundation President and former Senator Jim DeMint, we talked about the push to defund Obamacare and how realistic it is.
Well, first of all, it's important. Obamacare will fundamentally change America as we know it. Not just health care, but our economy, our culture, the way we think about ourselves as Americans. I mean, we were founded. In fact, I was in London just a few weeks ago. They can't believe that a country founded on individual liberty and free enterprise is considering doing this to ourselves. So we're finding out, we're just beginning to see how bad this is, how it's going to affect people. The unions don't like it. I mean, there's going to ruin the 40-hour work week.
That is a spectacle.
It is a spectacle
that I personally never thought we would see. The AFL-CIO, in at least partial rebellion, organized labor looking for an exemption. Yeah. Congress has found one. Everybody wants a way out.
That's right.
And sort of stand back from it.
So my point is, this is a very destructive law. And so when I hear those in Congress saying, well, it's a political risk to try to stop it, or we really can't defund it, I say, folks, this is worth fighting for. And the only way to get the president's attention here is for the Republicans to fund the government in its entirety, but not fund Obamacare. And if the president decides to shut the government down to save his failed law, then that's what he's doing. And so I don't see any other way to stop this from being implemented in the next few weeks.
It is if I may, it's a clever strategy. It is a strategy that even has the sound of what might actually work. Mm-hmm. What's the reaction from Republican leaders, if you will, the folks in Congress and the Senate, as to how excited they are about this and the political fallout that will ensue? Well, in the House, obviously, they're the ones who have to make the decision.
And I think some of the leadership is very risk-averse, and they're saying, well, if we do this, we could risk losing the next election. Frankly, Lou, every Republican there pledged to do everything they could to stop this bill. And there have been several times over the last 3 years since the Republicans won the majority where the leadership has said, let's don't fight here, let's push it to the CR, let's push it to the debt limit. But now, October 1st, they start signing people up. This may be the last off-ramp. So this is a time we need to stand up and stop it.
As Jim DeMint says, October 1st, we start to see those Obama insurance exchanges open up, and we're going to see where that leads us. It begins January 1st, it being the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, as it's more affectionately
Government health care is what it is.
Yeah, I'm laughing about you talking about those folks in London with their National Health Service thinking we're out of our minds. But here we go, unless Congress does act. What is the likelihood, in your judgment, that Congress will defund Obamacare?
It really depends on the voices of Americans. That's why we've been traveling around the country the last month, trying to get people informed and engaged, because a lot of people still don't know this is happening to them, and they're just starting to get notices. They're moving to part-time. So I think Congress is probably 50-50 now of whether or not they will take this action. The problem Speaker Boehner has is he can't get Democrats to vote for a funding bill for the government. He's got to get Republicans, and a lot of Republicans have decided they don't want to fund Obamacare. I'm just trying to get as many people in the country to support the right policy here.
And in prospect is the battle over a continuing resolution, the budget. What is, in your judgment, the smartest thing for Republicans to do with an eye to 2014, and what is the best thing for Republicans to do for the country?
Well, I'm not going to speak for what's best for them. I'm trying to do what's best for our country. That's what we're about at Heritage. And frankly, it's more important that we stop Obamacare than who wins the next election. And also, if we can't stop Obamacare, how much difference does it make?
You just scared the dickens out of some Republican leaders.
Well, I think they knew that when I was in the Senate, that there's a time when you have to pledge your life, your fortune, and your sacred honor for the right thing. And when people say we might lose if we do this, I keep saying, Lou, since when do we not fight for what's right as Americans because we're afraid we might lose?
Yeah, and I think when millions of Americans start to see the impact of Obamacare and the impact on their taxes, which of course were not to be raised, certainly on the middle class, but will be, and start to add up the burden, the cost of what we call Obamacare. It's going to be a very...
It will, and unfortunately a lot of people won't feel it personally until next year, and the sign-up would have be in the millions. It's going to be hard to unravel this once it starts.
Well, where do we go with the continuing resolution? Where do you think we'll be in bringing some sense of fiscal responsibility? Because October 1st not only brings Obamacare Insurance Exchanges a new fiscal year.
Well, the president's going to force a showdown regardless of what the Republicans do on Obamacare, because he said that he wants a clean increase in the debt limit with no strings attached. He wants to change the sequester. And he knows the Republicans are afraid every time he says shut down. And so Republicans are not going to get out of this without standing up for something. They should take the stand, we think, right now on this funding resolution and not fund Obamacare. They can't say on one hand that they think this is a terrible law for our country, yet we're going to continue to fund it. I'm not sure what the outcome is going to be, but I can say this is worth fighting for.
Worth fighting for, and there are a number of issues that you and the Heritage Foundation are highlighting and putting to the forefront of what you consider the right agenda for America and for our future. A lot of those issues are not being discussed, but we're going to be discussing those with Jim DeMint as we continue our conversation. Jim DeMint, President of the Heritage Foundation, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Lou.